Wizard101's launch and release onto the consoles officially has been one of the most confusing experiences I think any of us could have ever anticipated. Being teased over a year ago, as far back as August of 2024, people have been hyping up the release and the port to Wizard101 onto the consoles for quite a while now. And for the most part, this launch onto the console service has been nothing short of a huge success story. Wizard101 absolutely charting the PlayStation Store, being number 20 in best-selling and number 21 on the most downloaded. And on Xbox's most played games US list, Wizard101 is 158, which is absolutely nothing to scoff at. Screenshots of players being thousands in queue in line to be able to even log into the game or play on their wizards to begin with. Even TikToks on the game being ported to console receiving hundreds of thousands of likes and views on TikTok and other social media platforms. With great success, sometimes, however, also comes great peril, because the console release has also been quite buggy, laggy, and all this other fun stuff. Several reports of players crashing, players being unable to log into the game as a baseline, people only being able to play for an hour and then being kicked out of the game, several tweets about bugs, missing content, intense lag stutters. I think the most jarring and most eye-opening experience of all of this was that people actually found that because Wizard101 was ported to the consoles, that they actually had to disclose drop rates in packs, which people were very alarmed to finally have this information be presented to them. Every time I've been meaning to make this video, more and more things have been released and have been coming out about updates to this game, bug fixes, official notices from the game developers, but now I feel like we've finally gotten enough information and enough detail out there so that I'm able to make this video fully fledged and with enough information about the topic. To start off with Wizard101 being ported to different consoles, different websites, all that stuff, Wizard101 actually first had a Steam release dating all the way back to October 20th of 2018, where players were able to not just play on the KingsIsle accounts, they were actually able to download the game off of Steam and play it that way. And of course, whenever the Steam launch first happened there as well, there was a lot of bug fixes and stuff, but at least they had the understanding and the knowledge of being launched to the PCs so that they were able to fix things a lot quicker and kind of smooth out that experience right off the bat. When Wizard101 first made their post that they were going to be starting these services to port this game over to the consoles, one of the consoles that they did say that they were going to be porting to was the Nintendo Switch. And as of right now, it is just the PlayStation and the Xbox. In a recent tweet done by Wizard101 themselves, they stated that Professor Falmea had a message for them, and basically, Professor Falmea is one of the head developers for this game. She voices, obviously, the character, but also is a prevalent feature in the KingsIsle Live that they do. But part of this message, they indicated that they would eventually be looking to port this game to the Switch, finally, and also addressed a lot of the issues that people had with the console releases, including the lag, the random kill switches, and all that stuff. I actually want to go ahead and read some of the message that Professor Falmea had for us in this big console announcement, just a little bit, just to get some baseline going. It reads that, "What was beyond our hopes is the actual response we received over the last week and a half. We were prepared for success and an influx of new players, but the numbers have been well beyond our expectations. While we are overjoyed, it does mean that our servers, even though we had prepared them to scale up significantly, which is very important, more on that later, are bursting at the seams with even our queuing system turned on in full force, something we haven't had to do in well over a decade. While this helps to preserve the game experience and stability, it means sometimes there's a wait to play, which isn't fun, we get it. As soon as we saw the queues for the first weekend, we knew we needed to act on the issue. We have new hardware on the way to accommodate many more players. While we wish we could have a wand and fix this issue instantly, the reality is that these things take some time to even arrive at the location where they need to be deployed, and then time to set up, integrate, test, and test again." This message is absolutely huge. I mean, it goes to show you, a lot of people have been trying to diss on the fact that Wizard101 came to the consoles and were being like, this is never going to be successful, all that stuff, but you have your proof right in front of your eyes. One of the head developers for this game is saying themselves that they expected the console launch to be huge and to break charting numbers, but it has absolutely destroyed their servers. It has absolutely destroyed queues, wait times, all that stuff. And they're actually getting better hardware to be able to support just how many players have actually came to this game. I want to once again go over that little line where it says, While we are overjoyed, it does mean that our servers, even though we had prepared them to scale up significantly, are bursting at the seams with even our queuing system turned on in full force. Wizard101 is currently suffering with something called the curse of success. It's probably not actually a real term, but I'm just calling it that. But there are many instances where a lot of games will have a renewed success. Let's say, for example, I play the game Genshin Impact a lot. So whenever they release a new version, so like 5.0 with Natlan, 6.0 with Nodcry, there was a very huge influx of players because there's a lot of new content, right? Wizard101 for a while now has been a fairly stable game. When people have asked them during KI Lives, is the game dying? Is the game doing bad? Their response has been that Wizard101 has honestly been in a pretty consistent space, that they have enough funding, that they have enough, things going on with the game, that people are still enjoying it. And for the most part, it's been pretty okay. The port over of Wizard101 to the consoles, though, has, like in the post that I just mentioned, completely shattered expectations, beliefs, records, expectations, all that stuff. Like, it is absolutely destroyed all of this. And while that is great from like a sales perspective, while that's great from like a player counts perspective, the other hidden truth of this, phenomenon is that a lot of people are suffering from the game crashing. People weren't able to purchase, crowns or in-game purchases on the first day. So yeah, while the initial launch was quite buggy, while there were a lot of issues, the developers were very quick on this thing. As soon as October 15th, Wizard101 tweeted that they already had a patch release for the game that were vastly supposed to improve stability and performance, so they're already on it with them. And of course, like I already went over, the announcement and the messages released by Professor Falmea have also indicated that there is a lot of support and a lot of love going into this, like we said, with new hardware, with new, tech to help better support this, all that fun stuff. I also want to take a second. I know a lot of other YouTubers that you might follow that cover Wizard101 news and content have already went over this, so I'm not going to take your time too much on it, but the transparency that they had to release with the drop rates and the packs in the crown shop, I think was a very necessary change. It was one that was welcoming, but also it did expose the rather, not predatory, but like unfortunate nature of including RNG with a loot box system, with a pack system, all that stuff. I don't think people were surprised to see that they had to include drop rates. I think they were just more alarmed at, things like the Gulcher mounts being a 1 in 350 chance. That's 350 packs priced at 399 crowns. Let me actually do the math on that real quick, because if you had to go all the way 350 times 399, that is 139,650 crowns, which even during a crown sale is well over $100 for one mount. I think, once again, the transparency needed to be there, but I also think now that these numbers are out there in their public knowledge, people might start to, in the future, attack them more on that, or, call them out on this, because that's a pretty insane metric to be asking people to gamble that much into one pack. And again, that is one mount that you have a chance of receiving. Might not be for your school, all that stuff, so I digress on that. One of the final things I want to go over in this sort of like news roundup is the social media outcry and support for this game that has been absolutely blowing up. You have the physical charts and, like I went over earlier, like the things from Xbox and PlayStation indicating just how successful this game has been. But if you look on Twitter and you search up Wizard101, or you follow a couple people and it's in your recommended feed, you will also begin to see just how crazy the support for Wizard101 has been, especially with the console port, but also the test realm servers for the Darkmoor update, which has also been in congruency with this console launch. There's a lot going on with this game, right? All is to say that this game does not look like it will be dying. This game does not look like it will be going anywhere soon. In fact, I think the fact that the console launch was so successful, albeit buggy, yes, but successful nonetheless, proves that there is a love for this game. Darkmoor is the first world in the 5th arc of this game. I think they have everything in it within them to be going on to finish the 5th arc, do a 6th arc maybe, all that stuff. Of course, you never know what the future holds. You can never sit here and guarantee anything, but I think the launch and the statistics and the number and the community outreach all points to concrete evidence of success, concrete evidence of, developer support, all that good stuff. That is all I'm going to be having for you guys today as far as like a news roundup, and just wanted to go over the like hype and support that this game has been receiving recently. It has been insane. That is definitely reflected in the metrics on like the YouTube side. A lot of channels that cover Wizard101 are now receiving a lot of love, which I think is absolutely insane. This is also including my own channel, because in the span of like a few videos, I have gone to just shy of 400 subscribers as of filming this. So I wanted to real quick say thank you. That is literally mind-boggling. I can't wrap my head around it. So yeah, I won't keep you guys here any longer. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today and going over all this new stuff with me. If anything comes out more concretely in the future, or if there are any more huge announcements, I definitely will be going over them. But that is about it for that side of things. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!